Material researched and prepared by Bruno Saldanha from brunosaldanha.com.
Difference between the United States and Brazilian governments. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating comparison between the governments of two major countries in the Americas, the United States and Brazil. Whether you're a student curious about world politics or just love learning about how different governments work, this video is for you. Let's get started. All right, so to kick things off, let's start with the basics. Both the United States and Brazil are democracies, which means that people vote to choose their leaders. But the way their governments are structured is actually quite different. Let's break it down. 1. Government structure. First, let's talk about the structure of each government. The United States has a presidential system with a federal government, meaning power is divided between a national government and individual state governments. Brazil also has a federal system, but with some differences. United States, Federal Republic, presidential system. 3 branches, executive, legislative, and judicial. 50 states with their own governments. Brazil, Federal Republic, presidential system. 3 branches, executive, legislative, and judicial. 26 states and 1 federal district. In both countries, the federal government and states share power. However, Brazil states have a bit less independence compared to the U.S. states. In the U.S., states have significant control over their own laws and policies, like education or healthcare. In Brazil, while states do have autonomy, many policies and laws are more centralized, with the federal government holding greater influence. Head of government and head of state. Next, let's talk about the head of government. In both countries, the president is the head of state and the head of government. That means the president leads the executive branch and is responsible for implementing laws and running the day-to-day operations of the government. United States. President serves for 4-year terms and can be re-elected once. Brazil. President serves 4-year terms as well, but can also be re-elected once for consecutive terms. One difference is that the U.S. president can only serve 2 terms in total, while in Brazil, a president can serve more than 2 terms as long as there's a break in between. Interesting, right? 3. Legislative branch. Now, let's move on to the legislative branch, which is responsible for making the laws. Both countries have a bicameral legislature, meaning there are 2 chambers or houses. United States Congress. Senate 100 senators, 2 per state. House of Representatives 435 members, based on population. Brazil National Congress. Federal Senate 81 senators, 3 per state. Chamber of Deputies 513 members, based on population. One key difference here is the way senators are elected. In the U.S., each state gets 2 senators no matter its population. In Brazil, every state gets 3 senators. The size of the lower house in both countries is determined by population. So bigger states like Sao Paulo in Brazil or California in the U.S. have more representatives. 4. Judiciary and legal system. All right, let's talk about the judiciary. Both countries have independent judicial branches that interpret the Constitution and laws. United States. Supreme Court with 9 justices appointed for life. Justices are nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate. Brazil. Supreme Federal Court STF with 11 justices. Mandatory retirement at 75. Justices are appointed by the President and approved by the Federal Senate. In both countries, the highest court has the final say on constitutional issues. But a major difference is that in the U.S., Supreme Court justices serve for life, while in Brazil, there's an age limit of 75 for mandatory retirement. 5. Political parties and elections. Finally, let's take a quick look at political parties and elections. Both the U.S. and Brazil have regular elections, but their political landscapes are quite different. United States, dominated by 2 major parties, Democrats and Republicans. Brazil, a multi-party system with dozens of active political parties. In the U.S., it's mostly a 2-party system, which means the competition is usually between the Democratic and Republican parties. In Brazil, there are many political parties, and coalition governments are common since no single party usually wins a majority of seats in Congress. Conclusion. So, as you can see, while the U.S. and Brazil share some similarities as federal republics with presidential systems, there are many differences in how their governments function, from the role of the president to the structure of their legislatures and political systems. I hope this video helped clarify some of those differences. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this comparison, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos on world politics and government systems. Drop a comment below if you have any questions or if you want to see another government comparison in the future. See you